should start by thanking Nilay for organizing this.
Well, Alison.
And Alison for executing it. and Ed for bankrupting the department.
Well hidden. Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
We were just saying that it would be very easy to give Scott a surprise. You could walk right by it.
Very
So I just have a few remarks that that I would like to share with you. Well, interestingly enough, I first met Scott in Cornell in the very first semester.
That's right.
We crossed for about one semester, and I just saw him briefly, and I did not know who he was, and then he disappeared. And then we met again in 1982, and then we have been colleagues from then on. And our areas of research are very different, but even then we indeed actually ended up writing one paper together.
That's right. That's
And
right.
And that
The
one
second one has to be written, you know. We got
now you have a lot of time. And because of that paper, my Erdos number has risen to 3, or fallen to 3, I should say.
Dave and I are the highest in the university, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Higher than the medical.
Wow.
So we both have 2, right? You still 2?
Yeah. Much to John Wall's chagrin.
The math
So-
aces.
So all of you know that Scott is famous for his work in combinatorial optimization, and he's one of the few faculty members from our department who have actually contributed a named contribution to the area. There are something called ball-proven bounds. And if you don't know, go look it up on Google or Wikipedia or something like that. He's a famous man, and it's going to be very hard to replace him once he leaves. But I must say that whatever is the loss of the department is going to be a gain for the musical community. You've seen his talent in my house 2 years in a row, and apparently Jane and Scott, they have a ton of fun doing music, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Although I must share one comment. Actually, it came from you, Dave. You had said that the wife of some colleague of yours who retired said that, well, I married you for health or sickness or wealth or poverty, but not for lunch. And so maybe we'll see you more often for lunch. I don't know. And one of Scott's students is here, Manoj.
Yes.
If Manoj would like to say a few
My
words.
most famous
Yeah.
student.
So yeah, I was Scott's first PhD student, and there are jokes around SAS saying, "What did you write your thesis on stone tablets?" You all know that Scott is forgetful. So when I had a similar reputation when I came to graduate school. So when I said I was going to work for Scott, everybody was, "Boy, this is going to be great fun." But you know, he's inspired me in many ways. I mean, he would say these things. Look, this is really neat. That was his favorite word. This is really neat, and this is really neat. I wouldn't see the connection at all. But to him, there was some connection, and fortunately, I would remember those things. And years later, when I was actually teaching and going up for tenure and so on, so some of his ideas, some of his connections came very useful to me. And so I think he made me realize that, you know, mathematics is not just about being clever technically in one specific area, but seeing connections, but there may not seem to be connections initially. And a lot of the things he would just say in his office that I fortunately remembered, you know, carried me through getting tenure. I mean, some of the work that I did that sort of got me to be at least partially successful were things that were derived out of his thesis at Cornell with Lou Bellera. So I'm always grateful for that. Now for all the serious stuff is done, now for the funny stuff, hopefully. So Scott would teach, this was in Smith, so Scott would teach on the first floor of Smith. And Scott being Scott, he would often forget to bring certain things. So there was a time when he was lecturing, so he was proving a theorem, and he just remembered he forgot something. He started walking out of the door to his office, which was on the second floor. He was talking when he left Right? And when he came back, he was talking. I mean, it was mid-sentence. So we assumed that we lost part of the theater on the way to his office. Then there was this other case where one of my colleagues was asking Scott a question, and this is, I don't know if this is a real story, but I believe it. It has to be true. It's one of those things that's so beautiful it has to be true. So this person is explaining, trying to ask Scott a question on the board, and he says, suppose we move in this direction, and Scott says, and Scott's behind him. He's showing on the board. And Scott says, which direction? So this guy says, this direction. Scott says, which direction? What else can I do? And he turns around and in Scott is in. So, I think this is Marcello Bartoli told this. But anyway, it's been.
Well, this is true.
So anyway, it's been a great privilege to work with Scott over the years, and I've learned a lot from him. Thank you for everything.
Well, thanks for being successful.
Anybody else want to share thoughts, roasts? No? Well, in which case I have one more small duty here. There is some stuff in this envelope. I don't know what it is. You should keep it or share it with Jane.
Okay.
It probably has a card or something.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Speech?
I've had a great run. I remember George calling me up at 1981, and when I was at the Bureau of Standards, and saying we've got a position, and you know, wondering what it would be like, and realizing it was exactly the position I really wanted, and being able to work with all the people through the years, and you know, it's just one of those things where you feel really fortunate to be able to do the career that I've been able to do, and to live in Chapel Hill, and I'm staying here. So we'll be around for a while. Hopefully I'll get back to visit, and I've still got students to handle. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave. And maybe I'll get a few of those papers written that we were supposed to have written together. Maybe Manoj, I don't know, we can go back. But other than that, I'm going to have a lot of fun singing with my wife and going to lunch at places that I wouldn't normally be able to go to in the middle of the day, and just having fun. So, thanks for everything.